Welcome to U.S. Immigration TV. One of the requirements for naturalization is that the applicant demonstrate that they are a person of good moral character, which would typically be established with biometric checks like fingerprinting and a criminal background check performed by the FBI. In other words, a background check to confirm that the person was law-abiding and has no crimes against them in the past. However, and this is important, on August 22, 2025, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS, announced it will start performing or resuming neighborhood investigations of naturalization applicants rather than relying on just the fingerprinting and background checks alone. Now, I want to be clear. Immigration law did provide or does provide for neighborhood background checks. And the former Immigration and Naturalization Service, remember the INS, stopped doing the neighborhood background checks in 1991. Trump apparently is now reviving or bringing back the neighborhood investigations. Now, according to this policy memorandum, or PM, neighborhood investigations by the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, will, and I quote, cover the vicinity of the alien's place of residence and employment, and include at least a 5-year period prior to the filing of the alien's naturalization application. Now, the purpose of this neighborhood background investigation is to, and I quote, corroborate an alien's eligibility for naturalization, which includes scrutiny of the alien's residency, good moral character, attachment to the U.S. Constitution, and the disposition to the good order and happiness of the United States. I guess, in other words, DHS may start interviewing your neighbors, your coworkers, and employers to make sure you contribute to the happiness of the United States. USCIS may also request naturalization applicants to submit, and I quote, testimonial letters from neighbors, employers, co-workers, and business associates who know the alien and can provide substantiated information about the alien, including any of the requirements for naturalization, unquote. USCIS even suggests that these testimonials be included in your original naturalization application package, the N400. So apparently now you got to go to your neighbors, your coworkers, and have them prepare letters saying that you're a good person. Moreover, an alien's failure or refusal to provide such evidence may lead to a neighborhood investigation which may impact the alien's ability to establish their eligibility for naturalization. In other words, if you don't give them those testimonies, they could deny your case. So it appears the USCIS may now be deeply investigating naturalization applicants in terms of how they got their green card and whether it was obtained through fraud, misrepresentation, or concealment, such as they immigrated as single but they were secretly married. They obtained a green card through a fixed marriage. They obtained their green card through an employment petition, but they never worked for that employer. USCIS may even ask neighbors in a suspected marital green card case if they ever noticed that the couple was living together in the particular home designated on the petition. I think also what may be happening now with these neighborhood investigations is USCIS may want to do these neighborhood investigations to determine if the applicant maybe is some kind of anti-American radical who's burning the U.S. flag, protesting against America, similar to what we've seen on college campuses. They chant down with America and then they become U.S. citizens. And I think what Trump is saying is if you want a green card, you want to legalize, you want to become a U.S. citizen, you have to love America, you have to support it, you can't chant for its downfall. But here's what is important for many of you out there who are thinking now about applying for U.S. citizenship. After all, wasn't that your lifelong dream, to come to the U.S., to find a way to legalize your status, get the green card, and eventually apply for citizenship and hold up that blue passport? But I know that in the past, people would file for naturalization on their own rather than hiring an attorney because they thought, hey, it's simple and straightforward, and of course, I can save money. But we now see that with the Trump administration, they're getting very strict and very tough and very suspicious in terms of examining a person's past behavior, determining whether they are worthy of being granted U.S. citizenship, looking to how they got their green card, looking to their conduct and behavior since becoming a green card holder, talking with neighbors, talking with coworkers, asking the bosses. And I believe that if USCIS concludes that you are not worthy of citizenship, they may also take steps to revoke your green card and possibly put you in removal proceedings, depending on the reasons for denying naturalization. Well, the bottom line, really, think about it, it's now going to be far more difficult to naturalize, especially when you now have to establish how you bring happiness to the U.S. through your neighbor's testimonials, assuming you're on good terms with your neighbor. I mean, what if you're having fights all the time and they don't like you? What do you think they're going to tell DHS? That's why I would suggest that you should probably retain an attorney, not only on naturalization, but on all your immigration matters and filings, especially even now including naturalization. I hope you have found this video informative. In fact, it's probably a little bit nerve-wracking and causing anxiety in terms of now how deep USCIS is going to start digging into your past in connection with your hopes and dreams of naturalizing. Not just simply the fingerprinting, paying taxes, but now they're going to ask your neighbors whether you should become a U.S. citizen. I will continue keeping you updated on this channel concerning immigration news developments. So therefore, please make sure to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel. I'm Michael Gurfinkel, and thank you for liking, sharing, and most importantly, press that subscribe button.